The kidnappers compelled my husband to choose between me and his first love. My son whispered to him, "Dad, let's select Aunt Chloe, she is timid and cannot withstand fear." My husband nodded in agreement and commended our son for his sensibility. However, our son overlooked that my kidnapping occurred to rescue him. Abruptly, I felt fatigued. Since neither chose me, I resolved to relinquish them as well. "Chloe, we will ransom her." Upon hearing the decision my husband and son made before the kidnappers, my emotions remained undisturbed. Minutes earlier, I overheard their hushed discussion. They failed to recall that since becoming a mother, I possess an extraordinary ability. I can hear my son's voice regardless of distance. My son frequently became irate with me over this. "Mom, are you a surveillance obsessive? Why do you know everything I do?" Subsequently, to mitigate conflicts with him, I opted to disregard it. Over time, he forgot this unique maternal capability. My husband Eric gazed at me with complex emotions, yet his hand was already firmly grasping Chloe's. Why insist on retaining those who cannot be kept? I raised my eyes to him. "Eric, take Andy and Miss Chloe and depart first." Upon hearing this, Eric subtly exhaled in relief. He assured me, "Rest assured, once they are safe, I will devise a plan to save you." Within a brief timeframe, securing 2 ransoms was unfeasible. From the moment he chose Chloe, I had already discerned my fate, hadn't I? My son urged impatiently, "Dad, let's go quickly, Aunt Chloe is trembling with fear." I observed my son, who paid me no attention throughout, with a faint, cold smile. He forgot that my kidnapping resulted from exchanging myself for him. I unilaterally brought him into existence. Having now traded myself for him, our mother-son relationship concludes here. After Eric departed with the others, the kidnappers redirected their focus to me. The scarred man stared at me and remarked menacingly, "Boss, this woman is pitifully foolish. Her husband and son both rejected her, why not let me benefit and enjoy her first?" I retreated in terror, my heart pounding intensely. The kidnapper leader struck the scarred man on the back of the head, reprimanding him with a displeased expression. "Are you foolish? At such a time, you're still fixated on base desires? This location is compromised, we must relocate immediately." I was relieved that the leader's rationality afforded me time for self-rescue. They dragged me into the vehicle, preparing to head to the next hideout. Amid violent jolting, the necklace around my neck inadvertently detached. It was a wedding anniversary gift from Eric, the sole present he ever gave me, and an item I consistently valued. I am the marital partner designated by Grandma for Eric. Chloe, however, is his first love, a memory indelibly etched in his heart, perpetually reserving a place there. When I became aware of Chloe, I was already pregnant with Andy. The circumstances were fixed, leaving no opportunity for reconsideration. For the child's sake, I could only endure. Unexpectedly, even my most cherished child ultimately favored Chloe. Presently, I must depend solely on myself to escape this predicament. After passing a nearby gas station, the vehicle gradually halted. Perhaps presuming that my simultaneous abandonment by husband and child rendered me incapable of rescue or resistance, the kidnappers supervised me leniently, merely binding my hands with a zip tie. Through a gap in the car window, I could observe the external environment. Surprisingly, this gas station was highly familiar to me. This route is my daily path for driving my son to school, and the gas station is a frequent stop. I was aware of a pool hall behind the gas station. On one occasion, I inadvertently entered it. What appeared as a simple pool hall was, in fact, a violent and terrifying underground boxing arena. It housed not only a group of aggressive youths but also a formidable and intimidating boss. That encounter left me so frightened that I experienced nightmares for 3 consecutive days. Between nightmares and death, I unhesitatingly chose the former. While the kidnapper leaned out to scan a payment code, I cautiously used my foot to open the car door and swiftly fled. Detecting the anomaly, the kidnapper leapt from the vehicle and pursued me. With no time for deliberation, I leveraged my familiarity with the terrain and rapidly ran toward the pool hall. "Help, please save me." My abrupt cries instantly silenced the previously noisy venue. I immediately spotted the formidable boss drinking cola in the corner and charged toward him. "Boss Devon, save me." Moving too swiftly to stop, I stumbled and knelt between his legs. The atmosphere momentarily turned awkward. A somber voice above me inquired, "What grudge do you bear against me to threaten my future happiness?" I stammered an apology, "Sorry, truly sorry, but could you please assist me first?" The man glanced down at me, frowning silently. Several kidnappers stormed in. The scarred man roared and attempted to seize me but was intercepted by the venue staff. Infuriated, he shouted, "I'm handling my woman, mind your own business, or I'll end you." I shook my head frantically, "I'm not his woman, they're kidnappers. Please call the police." Hearing this, the kidnapper leader signaled his men to brandish their weapons. He aimed his machete at Boss Devon. "Young man, return her to me, and I'll consider you a friend. We live by the blade, if you seek bloodshed, go ahead and try." Upon hearing the threat, a bystander advised Boss Devon, "Devon, there's no need to court trouble for an unrelated individual. Police involvement would complicate matters for us too." A chill ran down my spine. I nearly forgot this was a clandestine boxing ring. They wouldn't call the police for me, nor risk a brawl with desperados. My hope steadily waned. I slowly stood, bowing slightly to Boss Devon. "I've troubled you today." With that, I turned toward the kidnappers. The scarred man's gaze gleamed with triumph. "You wretch, daring to flee. Soon, I'll cripple you, ensuring you never stand again." As he reached for my hair, a gust whizzed by, followed by his shrill scream. The Swiss Army knife Devon had been toying with was now embedded in the scarred man's palm. Previously reclining, Boss Devon now stood, coldly surveying the kidnappers. I despise foul-mouthed individuals. With me here today, no one takes this woman. Enraged, the kidnapper leader shouted, "Attack!" 6 or 7 kidnappers charged at us with machetes. Boss Devon pulled me back to safety before engaging. His martial prowess was formidable, even 2 kidnappers combined were no match. Seeing Boss Devon join the fray, others from the gym followed suit. Though ruthless, the kidnappers couldn't rival these seasoned fighters. Soon, the kidnappers were overpowered. The leader, battered and bruised by Boss Devon, collapsed. As the scene settled, police arrived. Gas station staff had alerted the authorities. Boss Devon extracted the knife from the scarred man's palm and cut my zip tie. 2 rushed to assess my injuries. I quickly thanked him, "Thank you for saving me." Boss Devon glanced at my wrist. "No need to thank me, handle yourself." As he moved to leave, I stopped him. "Wait, I don't yet know my savior's name." He raised an eyebrow and said calmly, "Devon." I was slightly taken aback. I hadn't expected such a refined name for a man whose cool exterior seemed at odds with it. After completing my statement at the police station, I unexpectedly saw Devon. I hurried to him. "I'm sincerely sorry for today, you saved me, yet I caused you so much trouble." Laden with guilt, I spoke incoherently, unable to lift my head. "Whatever you need, I'll do anything." Devon's cold voice came from above. "Anything?" Fearing disbelief, I looked up earnestly. "Yes, you saved my life, I'll agree to anything." Devon smirked, "Even being my wife?" Stunned, my mind blanked. As he turned to leave, I hesitated, then shouted, "Yes, as long as you don't mind that I've been married and have a child." Devon paused, approaching me. He leaned down, his handsome face close, his gaze peculiar, the faint tobacco scent invading my senses. "I don't mind, so you're truly willing to be my wife?" My past life was conventional, arranged by my parents. I married Eric via matchmaking. After pregnancy, per Eric's advice, I quit work to care for our child. Yet, both husband and son abandoned me. Before I could finish, a man's furious shout interrupted. "What are you doing?" Turning, I saw Eric and our son nearby, glaring at me angrily. My son approached, shoving Devon aside in anger. "Mom, Dad, and I came specifically to save you. How could you associate with such a disreputable man?" I glanced at Chloe, standing nearby with a smug smile, and understood. Noticing Eric's frown and evident disgust, I continued. I met his eyes. "Save me? So, you've gathered the ransom?" Eric faltered, his expression uneasy, avoiding my gaze. I scoffed. No money raised, yet you claim to save me. With what yourself in exchange?" Before Eric could respond, our son interjected. "Dad took Aunt Chloe to treat her wound, then immediately brought us to report it, letting the police save you." I glanced at the bandage on Chloe's forehead. Indeed, it needed prompt attention, lest the wound heal. No wonder they arrived at the station after my statement. I then fixed my gaze on Eric. "Didn't you fear reporting would enrage the kidnappers, prompting extreme actions? Why no such concern for me?" Eric was speechless, silenced as if choked. Chloe stepped forward, shielding Andy. "Sister Rachel, it's my fault. Direct your grievances at me, not Brother Eric, he had no choice. Andy's young, don't hurt him like this." I smirked. "Miss Chloe? We're a family of three speaking, what's your standing to intervene and speak for my husband?" Devon chimed in. "I've seen mistresses eager to intrude, but never one rushing to be a stepmother." Exposed, Chloe's face turned grim. She teared up, sobbing softly. Unable to bear it, my son broke free from her, berating me. "I want Aunt Chloe as my mom. She's gentle, beautiful, and caring, not forcing me to study for appearances daily. Dad and I both prefer her." I looked at Eric. "You like her too?" Silent at first, he later attempted an explanation, which I cut off. "Let's divorce." Joy flashed across my son's face as he gazed at Chloe, clearly delighted by the proposal. Eric panicked. "Rachel, I don't like Chloe. Andy's just a child, he doesn't know what he's saying. Divorcing over this trifle is irrational." I laughed in frustration. "Just childish words?" Realizing, Eric said, "You're still upset about the kidnapping? I chose for you, and you agreed to save Chloe first." "Yes," I nodded. "I let you save Chloe first to test your true choice, and you did." "Eric, you're utterly disappointing." His face paled instantly, drained of color. Speechless, he faltered. Bypassing him, I approached Devon. "I've nowhere to go, can you shelter me?" Homeless, I followed Devon home. Upon entering, a pink bundle rushed at us. "Daddy, I'm here." Her sweet, soft voice warmed my heart. Devon bent down, lifting the pink bundle, gently removing the costume hood to reveal her adorable face. While pregnant with Andy, I longed for a girl. Instead, I birthed a boy who constantly vexed me. Her bright eyes fixed on me. "Daddy, is this the mommy you found for me?" Before I could respond, she lunged at me with chubby arms. "Mommy, Lulu missed you." I nearly declined, but Devon's look stopped me as she nuzzled into me. After a while, Devon took her. "Lulu, you can't cling to mommy forever, she'll tire. It's nearly 9 bedtime." Heeding Devon, she reluctantly let go. "Mommy, can you sleep with Lulu? There are monsters in my dreams, I'm scared." Her lively eyes left me unable to refuse. "Okay, shall I tell Lulu a story?" She was easier to soothe than expected. 2 stories, and Lulu slept. She gripped my hand tightly. Fearing I'd wake her, I stayed 10 more minutes before releasing her. Emerging from the room, I saw Devon alone on the sofa with a beer. Seeing me, he turned. "Lulu really likes you." I smiled faintly, hesitating. "Her mother?" "Gone, when she was 6 months old," Devon said calmly. tightening my chest. Such a young child losing her mother at 6 months is heartrending. Devin approached, placing keys in my hand. Stay here and care for Lulu. If you mind, I won't return. I instantly grasped Devin's intent. Lulu, appearing 3 or 4, a girl, might be inconvenient for him to raise alone. It's fine, as long as there's a guest room. Consider it me renting, with Lulu's care as payment. Thus, Devin and I agreed, he'd provide lodging, I'd tend to Lulu. Eric persistently delayed the divorce, now even turning off his phone, eluding me. After settling Lulu, I took a taxi to the Gu family. I was Grandma's chosen match for Eric. Now, to end this marriage, I needed her intervention. I once thought this marriage would persist uneventfully to its end, despite scant affection with Eric, because of our child. Perhaps it'd mirror my parents' an arranged union, yet respectful over years, a decent outcome. I never imagined Eric harbored Chloe in his heart. Grandma frowned at me, eyes full of pity. Rachel, is there truly no room for reconciliation? Andy's so young, if not for Eric, for the child. I didn't conceal the kidnapping, posting on Facebook immediately after rescue. Now all friends know, facing mortal peril, my husband chose his first love over me. Since they're inhumane, why should I shield them? I spoke calmly, Grandma, my decision is final. The living room door opened, Eric rushed in, trailed by the innocent-looking Chloe. Eric glared furiously. Pushing for divorce and dragging Grandma into it? Rachel, she's old and frail, you're troubling her. Keep this up, and I'll divorce you. Grandma sighed deeply, Rachel asked me to persuade you to divorce. Eric froze. I chuckled, perfect, since you agree, let's handle it at the Civil Affairs Bureau today. Seconds later, he replied, if we divorce, you won't get Andy's custody. Neither Eric nor the Gu family would grant me custody. Crucially, Andy doesn't want me as his mother. Since they both reject me, why force them? Rest assured, Andy's custody is yours. Beyond the initial alliance funds my family gave the Gus, I want nothing. Eric frowned. Chloe's voice carried anger. Sister Rachel, you know brother Eric's company faces financial strain. Withdrawing funds now, isn't this indirectly pressuring him? Or do you not want a divorce, just using this to make him yield? Eric's eyes shot to me, evidently trusting Chloe. I sneered, what's more vital to the Gu family, money or Andy? At his age, legally, if I contest custody, the law favors me. Chloe bristled, poised to retort, but I cut her off. Miss Chloe, isn't the Gu family's financial woes due to you? Recall how recently Eric raised a hefty sum to ransom you. Chloe's face darkened instantly, likely wishing to vanish. With such people, courtesy is unnecessary. Why should my dowry fund the Gu family post-divorce? Shameless. My bluntness soured both Chloe's and the Gu family's expressions. Now, I care for no one. I sneered at Chloe, if need be, Miss Chloe, ask your parents. She froze, as if publicly slapped. Had the G family been willing, Eric wouldn't have paid the ransom. Grandma concluded, Eric, you're at fault, accept it. Tomorrow, have finance return the Lin family's funds. The Gu family can't afford this disgrace. Eric, ashen-faced, nodded mutely. On divorce certificate day, I rose early. Exiting the bedroom, Lulu rushed into my arms. Mommy, you're so pretty today, are you taking Lulu out? Her soft voice nearly melted my heart. Mommy has business today, wait at home, okay? Learning she couldn't come, Lulu's face crumpled, eyes red, teetering on tears yet holding back. Devin tried comforting her, but Lulu cried. Hearing I was getting a divorce certificate, he offered to drive. Lulu and I will wait in the car, find us after. Okay. At the Civil Affairs Bureau, Eric and the others were already there. With the divorce certificate, Andy proudly showed Chloe. Aunt Chloe, great. you're my mom now, we can finally live together. He danced excitedly, raising his voice to catch my attention. Perhaps, with a heart already deadened, my emotions stayed stable. Seeing me approach, Andy frowned in disdain. Don't come near, my custody's with Dad, I never want to see you again. Calmly, I said, step aside, you're blocking the way. Andy hesitated, stepping aside. I walked out the door without a glance back. Now, I'm free of him and the Gu family. Reaching Devon's car and about to enter, a force yanked me back. I hadn't expected Eric to follow. Anything else? Seeing me entangled, Devon exited and stood behind me. You okay? I shook my head. Eric's eyes darted between Devon and me. Him? No wonder you're so set on divorce, already lined up a replacement? I laughed angrily, you can fawn over your soulmate, but I can't have someone new. Hypocrite. Eric stood dazed as Chloe and Andy hurried over. Chloe quickly said, Andy, is this the new dad your mom found? His already discontented eyes filled with resentment. I slapped Chloe hard across the face. Everyone froze. Clutching her cheek, she stared at me in disbelief. I retorted coldly, Miss Chloe, or perhaps Mr. Suits better. Report me if you like, but it won't erase your role as a homewrecker. If you want a scene, I'm game. Her angry eyes flickered with fear. As she opened her mouth, I preempted, no need to deny it, we both know the truth. It takes two to tango, I didn't target you initially. But you repeatedly sowed discord before my young son. Is that appropriate? I glanced at Eric, you're only fit for such trash. His displeased gaze shifted to Chloe. Devon stepped up, arm around me. Ready to go? Unwilling to dwell on the past, I left with Devon. My son's voice trailed, leave with him, and don't ever see me again. He's mistaken, it's not him avoiding me, I've chosen to let them go. I entered Devon's car. As we passed Eric and the others, Lulu, in her car seat, pointed outside, Mommy, who's that mean boy? I pursed my lips, I don't know him. I'd planned to cook seaweed rice balls for Lulu tonight, but Devon took us to a restaurant, ordering a feast. Surprised, I asked, is today special? He raised his glass to me. To your rebirth. Lulu asked, Daddy, what's rebirth? Devon replied patiently, dawn has passed, the future is boundless. I gently stroked Lulu's hair, Daddy means today's a happy day, and tomorrow will be too. Lulu danced with glee. Great! Days with Daddy and Mommy are so happy. Perhaps her joy dispelled my inner gloom. Raising Lulu differs vastly from Andy. Lulu's a sweet, comforting presence, praising all I do, fulfilling my emotional needs completely. Andy, however, was like a lofty prince, to him, I was a lowly servant. Perfection was my duty, any slip, a grave fault. Perhaps it's Andy's upbringing. After his first birthday, Eric, aiming to mold a Gu family elite, took him from me, a Gu tradition believing gentle mothers spoil sons, and only stern, eagle-like rearing fosters growth. Only when Andy started kindergarten could I care for him more. By then, he was wholly a Gu child, cold and selfish like Eric. I tried to change this with love, but his Gu lineage made ignoring me routine. Mommy, wah! Lulu's cries snapped me back. Turning, I saw her on the ground by the slide, eyes red. My heart clenched, I ran and lifted her. Don't be scared, Lulu, Mommy's here. Her knee was scraped, bleeding. As I cleaned it, Devon arrived. I stood, head bowed, sorry, I didn't watch her, she fell. Lulu added, it's not Mommy's fault, I wasn't careful. Devon crouched, voice gentle, since Lulu knows her mistake, apologize to Mommy. Don't worry her again. If you're hurt, what would Daddy and Mommy do? Devon's response surprised me. With Andy, a minor scrape led to his disdain and Eric's public scolding. Devon took my hand, forcing eye contact. Don't feel guilty, bumps are normal at this age, it's not your fault. Perhaps from years of harshness, I wasn't used to Devon's kindness. I withdrew my hand awkwardly, smiling. I'll be careful next time. Devon said earnestly, remember, before all this, you're just you. Indeed, before being Andy's mom, I'm Rachel. I owe him duty, but not my identity. Mired in fog so long, Devon's words awoke me. Henceforth, I'm just Lynn Rachel. Past 1 a.m., Eric called, where's my stomach medicine? Roused from sleep, anger surged. Can't a grown man find it himself? Silence followed. As I moved to hang up, Eric said, my stomach hurts. What's that to me? Furious, I snapped, ex-bro, see a doctor if you're sick, don't bother me, and hung up. Eric's stomach issues predated our marriage. For his career, he often socialized. I learned to make health soups, coaxing him to eat, ensuring timely meals. I carried his medicine daily for instant relief. Yet my efforts earned what? Eric's indifference, his mockery, deeming me meddlesome. Now I ignore him, and he grovels. Pathetic. Days later, Andy called, grudgingly, school scheduled parent duty, come. I laughed in exasperation. Good things don't prompt him, but road duty as a traffic aid does. No time. I stressed, also, I'm not your mom anymore. Didn't you choose Chloe? Ask her for duty. That day, I got a new sim. No more chances for trash to ruin me. Lulu's truly considerate. Making her seaweed rice, she thought of Devon first. Mommy, this yummy food, can we bring some to Daddy? Her sparkling eyes were irresistible. So, I took her to the pool hall. Devon was training, each punch exuding potent masculine energy. Onlookers eyed Lulu and me curiously. Hearing her call me mommy, they chimed, hello, sister-in-law. I blushed, unsure how to reply. Devon and I are more partners, not romantic. After training, Lulu presented the rice. Daddy, mommy made this for you, super yummy, eat. Devon looked at me. Our eyes met, and my cheeks burned. Needing air, I stepped outside and met the guy who helped Devon save me, Zane, if I recall. Zane greeted me, sister-in-law, can we chat? I nodded, following to a corner. His account shocked me. You mean Lulu isn't Devon's child? Zane nodded, Devon's very loyal. Lulu's his late comrade's child. After a rescue mission death, her mom passed too. Pitying her, Devon took her in. I eyed Zane warily. Why, tell me? He smiled lightly, no ill intent. I don't know your deal with Devon, you're adults with your ways. I just pity Lulu, she adores you, and I don't want her hurt. Relieved, I looked at him earnestly. Rest assured, I promise Lulu won't be harmed. Hearing of her mom's death pained me. Now, knowing her truth, I only feel deeper sympathy, nothing else. That night, I told Devon, I know Lulu's origins. Cigarette in mouth, he squinted at me. Your thoughts? I asked, does Lulu know her background? Devon nodded, her dad was a firefighter, she knows he's a hero, and her mom loved him dearly. Abruptly, I said, Devon, let's visit Lulu's home, her grandparents, and live with them a while. He looked surprised, as if my bold idea caught him off guard. Zane said when Devon sought to adopt Lulu, her grandparents resisted. He promised 3 months yearly and to treat her as his own, winning their consent. Now elderly, they can't care for Lulu. With their child gone, she's their sole hope. They'd do anything for her good. Thinking of those poor elders and Lulu pierced my heart. Though my life's imperfect, I can't bear others suffering. Compared to them, my past isn't so bad, is it? Moments later, Devon said, all right, it's time to visit. Lulu's grandparents live in a Jiangnan town, far from urban clamor, exuding rustic charm. I fell for it day one. Learning of our arrival, they were thrilled, especially Lulu's grandma, eyeing me joyfully. I worried Devon was burdened by us. Seeing you eases my heart. I can face my wayward son in the afterlife. Her words teared us up, but clever Lulu climbed onto the sofa, hugging and calling grandma, swiftly restoring cheer. Evening brought a gentle breeze. At the elder's suggestion, Devon took me exploring. Long parted from Lulu, they kept her, leaving us two to stroll. The ancient town glowed at night. Summer vacation drew tourists. Distracted by roadside lanterns, I paused, then lost Devon. Crowd sparked instinctive panic, flustered, I forgot my phone. As anxiety peaked, a force pulled me back. Where are you darting? Devon's voice calmed me instantly. I exhaled, muttering, I panicked not finding you. Devon grasped my hand. Grown up, yet I must guard you like Lulu from getting lost. Come, I'll hold you. My cheeks flushed, I instinctively tried pulling away. But he held firm as crowd swelled. I relented, going with the flow. The future, too, would follow my heart. I grew fonder of the town's tranquility. After 2 months, I had no intent to leave. Walking Lulu that day, I saw 2 familiar figures. Eric held Andy's hand, facing me. Andy's eyes darkened at Lulu. I shielded her instinctively. Unaware, she asked softly, Mommy, what's wrong? Hearing her call me Mommy, Andy lost it. Breaking from Eric, he charged, pointing at Lulu, Who's this? Why is she calling you Mommy? If she does, what am I? I laughed bitterly, she calls me Mommy because she's my child. You? You said you don't want me as your mom, now you question me? My words reddened Andy's eyes. Unrestrained, he accused, You're my mom, how can you be someone else's? No. You birthed me, you must be my mom. He arrogantly assumed blood ties bound me to him. He's wrong. 10 months pregnant, 10 centimeters dilated, risking death, I owe him nothing, he owes me. I once tirelessly raised him bit by bit. Yet he betrayed me, wounding me with venomous words. My child, he knew best how to stab my heart. People tire, hearts chill now, I've fully forsaken him. Calmly, I said, the moment you abandoned me for another, I ceased being your mom. Andy wailed hysterically. Eric stood behind, silent wave after wave. After a long pause, Eric spoke, Rachel, I still love you. Can you give me another chance? Late affection is cheaper than grass, especially from this insincere man. I sneered at him, weren't you madly in love with Chloe? How did that fade so fast? Seems money's allure outweighs all. Eric froze, his face ghastly. Did he think I'd been in the dark these months away from the city? My mom called days ago, detailing how the Gu family deserved its fate. After my family withdrew funds, the already struggling Gu family worsened. Chloe didn't help, instead, she aided the G family in siphoning benefits, piece by piece, crushing the Gus. My parents long resented Eric's betrayal. Upon learning this, they publicized the Gu family's financial collapse. In no time, the once glorious Gus fell utterly. Last week, the Gu family went bankrupt. Without that, would Eric think of me? Likely not, as selfish like him only sees my departure as his loss. Seeing Eric persist, I warned, the Gu family's ruined. If you don't want worse, vanish from my sight. Eric struggled, Rachel, you misunderstand, I truly love you. Let's reconcile for Andy's complete family. I was livid, they blocked my exit. Then Devon appeared. Lulu leapt into his arms, Daddy, bad guys are taking Mommy. He soothed gently, don't fear, no one can take Lulu's Mommy. He wrapped an arm around my waist, eyes threatening Eric. She's mine now, think twice before touching her. Devon's aura deterred Eric. Seeing him back off, Devon sneered, leading me away. Andy's heart-wrenching sobs echoed behind. Mommy, I was wrong, please come back. My heart twinged. He's my flesh and blood, how could it not hurt? But from the moment he forsook me, I ceased being his mom. I'm Rachel henceforth, I live for myself alone.